Hi, I'm Jake, and I've been drawing Pokemon since I was 7 years old. In today's video, I thought it would be really fun to speculate what the legendary Pokemon of the new games are going to be, and maybe a third legendary as well if you stick around to the end. I'll talk through my design process, my ideas, my inspirations, and also a bit of the lore behind these two legendary Pokemon and how they interact with each other. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and comment and drop me a subscription. That's not what people say, is it?
I bet you were all expecting the Winds legendary first, but no, I like to keep you on your toes and we're going to do the Waves legendary first. But honestly, it's because I came up with this idea first, and this is what inspired me to make this video. When I was researching for the starter evolutions, I obviously came across the Naga or the Naga, which is like this big sea serpent beast, mythological creature, and I thought actually it's perfect for a Waves legendary Pokemon. Legendaries don't often have this serpentine body. I mean, there's Zygarde and Rayquaza, but that's all I can think of. So think of this as a sea Rayquaza, I guess. I was really inspired by the gold coloured statues when I was looking for inspiration, and I thought that I wanted to try and replicate that with giving it gold plated armour. I feel like that's how I tried to imply that it was a legendary Pokemon and not just some huge water type or a pseudo-legendary or something like that you would find just in the seas around this region. In terms of the colour palette for these legendaries, I didn't really have much to work off other than the game logos themselves, so I ended up pulling the colours directly from them, which is a little bit odd because most games have that blue and red undertone theme, whereas these games have a blue and a green undertone. I wanted the design to look quite flowy and elegant, but I'm scared I've made it look a bit too much like Suicune. Introducing Milagari, the wave Pokemon. Milagari is said to govern the great ocean currents that surround the region's islands. Sailors often unknowingly follow its unseen guidance to safety to navigate even the most treacherous waters. Ancient texts warn that when it senses its rival in the skies, the oceans begin to churn violently. It's said that when the seas rage beyond control, something deep below the Earth's surface is awakened. I think I keep Milagari as a pure water type because I think it works with the Pokemon Waves title. So moving on to the Winds legendary Pokemon, obviously it was going to be a Garuda. There's even a story in mythology where the Garuda fights the Naga, so that was the whole inspiration behind these two and how they could link as a pair, because visually a bird and a snake are very different. You can see there I originally went for a more humanoid design, but I didn't think that it worked well as a pair with the Waves legendary Pokemon, so I scrapped it and went for a more animalistic bird-like look. And then I was really worried that actually, is this just Ho-Ho? Ho-Oh, not Ho-Ho. We're not Santa Claus. Anyway, I tried to differentiate it from Ho-Oh by giving it more of a flowy tail rather than the feathers, and I thought that the flow of the hair kind of matched the Waves legendary too. Again, I was really inspired by all that gold-plated armour that you could see in the reference photos, so I applied it to this Pokemon as well, which I thought might tie the two together as a pair a little bit more. Colour-wise again, there's not much to go off, so I used the game logos as inspiration but threw in that pop of orange. Firstly, I think it contrasts well with the purple of the Waves legendary, and secondly, most Garudas when you Google them or you research about them are that dark red colour, but it just wouldn't work with the game logo, which is why I made it green primarily. Introducing Angarudai, the Winds Pokemon. Angarudai command the powerful air currents that sweep across the islands. It is said to guide migrating Pokemon and carry travellers swiftly across vast distances without their knowledge. When it descends to challenge its ancient rival, one flap of its powerful wings stirs up huge hurricanes. Legends say that when its storm grows too fierce, even the earth itself will rise up to silence the skies. To match Milagari's pure water type, we're going to keep this as a pure fire type. No, a pure flying type. Sorry about that. As the Dex entries have been hinting, these two Pokemon aren't just legendaries, they're rivals. And I could see that their clash could cause a huge storm that engulfs the whole region. And maybe that could be the whole plot point of the whole game. When I was designing these two legendaries, I had this idea in mind that they were going to be rivals, so I tried to draw them in poses where it looked like they might be fighting, like their eyes are locked and they're ready for battle. Or at least that's my intention. So as we all know, every legendary duo is accompanied by a third legendary that stops them fighting and brings balance to the world. So I of course had to make a third legendary Pokemon. First I had to decide on my theme, so we've got Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves. What's the third thing in that trio? It's obviously going to be land, but do I do land, earth, volcanoes? In the end, I thought shores, because that's kind of giving a tropical vibe. And I thought wind, waves and shores does go together. So then I had to find a mythological creature to base it off to go alongside the Naga and the Garuda. So I got to Googling Southeast Asian mythology, and I wanted to also give it that volcanic theme because we've got the storm theme between the other two. I thought volcanoes seems just as destructive. And then when I was Googling volcanoes in Indonesia, I found the mountain Mount Bromo, I think it's called, has a statue of Ganesha on it. Obviously Ganesha isn't a mythological creature, it's a deity, but I still thought it gave that legendary Pokemon vibe. And with it being an elephant, I thought it matched the more animalistic style that I went with the other two legendaries. You might be able to tell that I'm struggling a lot with this design, and at one point I was making it more fairy-like to be the mythical of the region that would get between the two legendary Pokemon, but I just thought it didn't look right and wasn't true to its inspiration. Ganesha is often associated with peace and harmony, so I wanted to try and reference that in the design as if it was telling the other legendaries to stop fighting. It's also shown a lot with 4 arms, so I thought that the ears could become extra arms. This is Panesharai, the Shore's Pokemon. Panesharai is said to slumber deep beneath the region, shaping the land through controlled volcanic eruptions. Rather than bringing destruction, it raises new islands from the sea. When the clash between the sea and sky grows too violent, Panesharai awakens and restores balance. Its presence silenced Malagarai and Angarudai, guiding their powers to work in harmony, bringing rain and winds to enrich the soil it creates, allowing life to flourish in the region. I'd make Panesharai a pure ground type to go with the water and flying types of the other two. Hopefully it's not just an evolution of Donphan. So there we have it. Let me know down below what you think of the lore of these three, and do they work as a trio? They are very, very different looking, but I'm hoping that the story I've created ties the three together, and I'm hoping that it references the myths and the religion of the area that we think that the game is going to be based on. So I hope that you like this video, and don't forget to leave me a like and a comment down below, and hopefully I've done enough to make you subscribe to the channel, because we're so close to hitting that 1k marker, and I've got a very cool surprise in store for when we do hit 1k. But in the meantime, next week we're going back to the Iopa region, and we're going to be adding some of your guys' designs to the region, so I hope you're looking forward to that. I'll see you next time, bye.